Trap game.
I mean, it was a lot that we could talk about like that.
Tomlin loss.
We flirted with all the different
Game.
all the different things.
It has to be. I think
we flirted with all the different names, all the different ways.
You went up against a 2-8 team. You're 8-2, coming off a Ravens win.
We tried to promote it a little bit. We was like,
it's a trap game.
We said, no, look at Jameis Winston. He just threw for almost 400 yards last week. Oh, look at Jerry Jeudy. He's looking electric with Jameis. Oh, I know they're not running the same, but Nick Chubb is just good to have him back out there. But Jerome Ford said, "Hey, Myles Garrett, you know who he is. Them interior D tackles, they not names, but they are really good players, man." And we talked about their secondary, which we did. I felt like match what we kind of said with them was in their secondary
but
specifically.
They got lucky.
I was about to say, yeah, bro, because we was on their head. We was on their heads.
And that's why I actually
bro.
Don't deep down in my heart categorize this as a trap game or a letdown loss
either, bro.
Because
we got a snow blizzard in the middle of the second half out of nowhere, bro.
Well, and the Browns got lucky in the first half because we shot ourselves in the foot. And not in the way that I felt like we came out unprepared or too lax and weren't really trying.
Yep.
Boz missed a field goal. Shit happens. We didn't get a 4th and 2. Shit happens. Now, can you question our decision to go for it there?
I was going to say, even before we go there.
Putting fields out there and making it predictable.
I was going to say, before we get that far, right? You said Boz missed a field goal. What made it a 58-yard attempt, though?
I honestly can't recall.
Myles
was it a penalty?
Garrett. No, Myles Garrett get the sack. We're about to be, at worst, kicking a close to 50 or maybe even a 40-yarder. Myles Garrett gets a sack on the opening drive.
It didn't even look like he did anything special
that pushes us to 58. He got chipped as well. He had 3 sacks in the first half, bro.
Don't
3 sacks in the first half. And what? One was a strip sack, if I remember correctly. Yeah. That, to me, man, I thought killed a lot of what we were trying to do early on.
And then Russ fumbles before half, gives the Browns a short field. I think defense stood up there and held them to 3.
We did the 4th and 1 attempt. I don't know if we want to get on either it was designed to go backside or Justin Fields read it wrong because it looked like the front side was wide open.
A disaster.
Yeah, but from the start of it just looked a little off. But it did kind of help us out in the second half at times.
Right, the Fields element.
Yeah.
But our calls to go for it on 4th down, I don't know. I guess you're always playing the result.
As well, though. I think weather had a little bit of a impact on it, especially when you look at even how the Browns were divvying up when they would decide to go. They were a little bit more aggressive, but I think when you're looking at trying to kick in some of that, it's like, man, would you rather take this chance of snap got to be right, hold got to be right, plant got to be right, pray that the wind doesn't take it, or, man, let's just keep the offense out here and see if we could pick up a few yards. I think it was kind of that going back and forth on both sides, and it was just unfortunate that they were able to connect on more of them, but it wasn't. I don't feel like it was by just flat out design. Some of that is Jameis making a play. As much as we want to poo-poo Jameis, we talked about Jameis's ability. Some of that you saw right there. He was defending the play.
I know he's got an arm. I know he can throw it deep down the field. He's got good arm strength and everything, but being John Elway wasn't on my scouting report for him.
I don't know why he threw for 5,000 yards.
No,
and
I'm
had
talking
30 touchdowns
I'm talking
in the
about
season, bro.
The scrambling, actually being kind of nimble on his feet in the snow. Like, he's not the most coordinated quarterback.
Think of how Mason Rudolph looks.
Yeah, this was
it's the same.
I couldn't believe what I saw from Jerry. Being able to roll out in the snow, be pretty agile, throw dots.
Jameis can throw.
But then he wasn't good in the pocket at all. That's the funny part. He was terrible in the pocket yesterday.
The thing that I didn't like was I felt like we didn't generate enough pressure. We didn't create enough havoc on him. But on the occasion that we did, he was able to escape. And we're like, all right, now you allowing this dude to get in rhythm. We know Jameis is a streaky quarterback. He could either throw you into it or he could throw you out of it. And once he got that confidence rolling, man, you could just see like, yo, this is a dude that believes in himself. But that's been showing since he's taken over for Deshaun Watson. It's only been one game where he's actually like lit it up with interceptions. The rest of them have looked more like last night. That's Jameis right now, man. Unfortunately.
Just a game from hell, really. But again, why I don't categorize it as a trap game, I just think everything went right in the Browns' favor.
Yeah.
Steelers got unlucky for the majority of that game. And with all that being said, we fought back to get it to 19-18, be up.
We took
with the
lead.
ball with like
Come on,
3-4 minutes left. So
I swear I thought they were going to get it back.
That's not a traditional Tomlin loss.
I thought they were going to get
Tomlin
it back,
loss is the game's over in the third or fourth quarter, and we just looked terrible throughout really the whole game.
Deke, I thought they weren't going to get it back.
We came back and we're up 19-18. I think it was a hell of an effort. Dude. So I actually consider this more of just a self-implosion because we did all that to come back, and then we did everything wrong those final 3-4 minutes, from putting Fields out there on third down when we pass it, the Corliss Waitman punt, and then the Tomlin timeout decisions and all that garbage with the defense on the final drive. That was just – we did everything to give it away. We did everything to deserve to lose there. Okay. After we fought all the way back.
Yeah.
Gave that great effort to come back and then just throw it away. It's almost like I compared it to being on a good health kick, being on a good diet.
Mm-hmm.
You're so good for 6 days of the week, and then on the weekend you throw it away by drinking and eating fast food.
Respect. I dig it, man.
Absolutely terrible.
I dig it.
So I think in my heart of hearts, I feel like it was just a fluky game, like an outlier game with the snow and the bullshit that happened in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate the effort on the comeback, but that's what I think it is. It's more of that than just the Tomlin loss. We choke against bad teams, that type of thing. Letdown game. I think it was just throw this game out.
In terms of overall, I agree. You hitting on some spots. I think as I look into it a little bit more from just a why everything happened the way that it did, we got beat in the trenches. Our offensive line got beat and our defensive line got beat. When we don't win in the trenches, our team struggles. That's who we are right now, man. O-line didn't protect well enough. You get sacked 4 times, get pressured a multitude of times, and get hit I don't know how many times. That's going to throw our rhythm off. We ran the ball as a whole. It ended over 100 yards on the night, but situationally, we didn't run the ball well. We felt one-dimensional at times or gimmicky at times with Fields. Even though Fields had success, to me, it kind of got too predictable, almost too one-dimensional. The flip side, our D-line. How many times was Jameis sacked? Once. How many times was he hit? We did not generate enough havoc on him, and when we don't, we said this is kind of why Lamar Jackson has success against other teams. He's able to extend the play, and now when your guys are in coverage a little bit too long, now he's able to find that soft spot. We allowed Jameis to do a lot of that. But to me, I don't sit here and just look at that and say, oh, man, that's us. Some of that I give credit to them. We like to talk bad about Myles Garrett solely because we have TJ Watt. But y'all see who Myles Garrett is. When they put up their graphics of stats, he's at 98.5 sacks now on his career. TJ's at 105. That's a ton of sacks for both of those players, regardless of who we think is the depoy or not. That's a heck of a player right there. So to act as if he can't take over a game the same way we look at TJ taking over a game, I think that's us being a little bit arrogant as, Steeler fans. To me, man, Myles Garrett in that first half was the difference. And then in the second half, those interior D linemen were the difference. We could not get that run game going consistently enough to make them respect us. The flip side was when that snow hit, we couldn't take advantage of them as much as we wanted on the perimeter. Russ still ended, was it 21-28 for 270 and a tutty? And that was with all the pressure, with all the snow. I'm like, yeah, with you, man. If the weather is nicer, I think it does go a little bit differently in that second half because now we can really take advantage of them. But if we can't protect, man, it's going to look like that where we're back and forth. And now a weird punt situation. We can focus on Corliss Waitman. I look at the protection and I say, if Corliss puts his full leg into that, man, he's going to kick that ball up Herbig's back, man. So he short legs it. Try not to get a block. Now, instead of, him having a nice punt, it's just the compound effect. Protection doesn't work, so the protection impacts the kick. Kick doesn't work. Now we got a short field. Short field leads to what? Browns getting success. It's all the chain of events of the little details amongst the game. But that's the part where you got to give them a little bit of credit. And for us, we say, yeah, you can't just think that because you beat this team a week ago, they're going to win. Or you're going to win versus them. Remember, this is the same Browns team that beat the Ravens 2 weeks ago as well. With Jameis, they have beat Steelers and Ravens in the span of 4 weeks. But we go look at the Browns and talk about the Browns as if they trash because of what their record is. Their record hasn't been that with Jameis Winston. They 2-2 or 2.5?
Well,
because he took over
2-2 now.
Yeah, but he took over at the midway
the
point of that game for the Deshaun Watson one is what I'm saying when he got hurt.
Yeah, I don't know if they won that.
That's why I was calling it a half.
Well, because they threw DTR in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
They didn't even throw Jameis in. I think they had him as their third quarterback. That game. It didn't make sense at all.
I'm with you. But it's like with Jameis, man, they are a little bit of a different team. They have a lot more downfield passing feeling to them and just a more explosive element to them that if you allow them to have confidence to stick around, man, boom. Now this team is in a dogfight and we sit here at the end of the game like, okay, should we have called a timeout here? Or should we have trusted defense here? Should we have tried to run out a little bit more clock here? Should we have kept Russ on the field instead of putting Fields out there? Like we start to second guess and look at all of that type of stuff. Just unfortunate, man.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we came back. It was 19-18. That's what the game came down to. You're sitting in the second half. It's a blizzard. We screwed ourselves in the first half. Unlucky stuff happened. And you're like, we just got to get out of this thing with a win. We got to fight. The Browns went up 2 scores. It's like, all right, we have to have a hell of a drive here. We got to score a touchdown, get it within 1 score because a field goal doesn't do that.
And what Russ do?
They did actually. That drive actually.
What that man do?
No, that drive was the field drive actually.
Oh, okay.
The one after they went up
with
2.
the Jalen Warren one. I'm talking about the go ahead.
That was after the Herbig fumble.
Yeah,
through the dot to Calvin Austin across the middle. Shout out to Calvin Austin for catching that too. He had the best
He's
game out of all
natural hands
receivers.
catcher, man. Natural hands catcher. I like the adjustment by Arthur Smith as well. I know last night people were trying to get on him, but I'm like, nah, let's not do that. We had 6 explosive passing plays of 15 plus yards through the air, man. And I thought the subtle details of how they were last week or the 2 weeks prior, we've been using Calvin Austin vertically on the perimeter, right? Out by the numbers, throwing them verticals. We saw the ball hit on his shoulder pads last week. It's a tough catch for Calvin based on just the angle of his size, the sideline and everything along with that. Them bumping him to the interior part and now running those same verticals, but now you got a little bit more space. The angle of it for the throw and all things included, it just makes it a little bit easier on him, and you see the difference. Touchdown. Whereas the previous 2 weeks we were like, why we keep throwing deep balls to him? Yeah. But prior
was that
to
early, I can't remember.
It was.
I can't remember when it was. Might have been second half. Or might have been early in the second half.
I think it was for Warren. I mean, not for Warren, excuse me, for Calvin. Yeah, it was in the second quarter. He had the 46-yarder versus Doe Pitt, and then in the fourth quarter, he had the 23-yard touchdown. But to me, that's the stuff that goes unnoticed when we're critiquing coaches, man. That's a subtle detail that matters. That's a subtle detail of I saw 2 weeks ago that's not working because we had him out here. Now let's put him in here, and boom, you see the production off of it, man. To me, man, like I said, that I can't wait till we see him again. Hopefully, there's no blizzard, but yeah, I want to see him again, man.
Yeah, whatever. It is what it is.
Shout out to my dog GP, man. I like his
fluky game. Man. I don't think this game really defines us one way or another. I don't think it was gonna define us if we won. We'd be at 9-2, and with us losing, now we're at 8-3. I don't think it. Let me put it this way: I don't think it changes the definition of this team going forward or who we are going forward. Yeah. Either way, we're still in contention in the AFC for the playoffs. We could beat any team in the league, but obviously we could lose to any team as well, based off yesterday.
It's National Football League.
It's the same thing though. We're just 8. The record's a little bit different. We could beat the Chiefs. We could beat the Bills. We could beat the Ravens. We could go toe to toe with any of these teams. It's just now maybe we screwed ourselves a little bit with the seeding. Yeah, losing a game like that.
Listen, man, in the National Football League, this is week to week, man. This is week to week. But we got time. We're gonna bounce back. We'll definitely bounce back.
We have no choice. Literally no choice. We lose to the Bengals. Now you're starting to make the losing a trend. I'm not gonna say a streak, but you're starting to make it a trend. 2 in a row. Just like we did Colts Cowboys. That was bad. That was a bad stretch, bad time.